For more than a century, AM radio has evolved to meet the needs of our community. More than 80 million listeners depend on AM radio each month. AM radio is also the backbone of the emergency alert system, which keeps us safe in dangerous times. It's reliable, free, and public safety depends on it. Text AM to 52886 and tell Congress we need AM radio in cars.
Messaging data rates may apply. You may receive up to 4 messages a month, and you may text stop to stop.
This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
DeWitt County's number one source for local news is on the air and online 24 hours a day. The latest local news stories are heard every hour on Central Illinois' news station of Big 1520 AM and 92.3 FM WHOW. Stream live at DeWittDailyNews.com. We're also heard every hour on the station that's your easy choice. 95.9 FM WEZC. And to read the latest local news on your electronic device, including tablets, iPhones, and smartphones, go to DeWittDailyNews.com. DeWitt County's number one source for local news is on the air, online, 24 hours a day.
Top of the morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube. Brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Beacon Insurance agent in Clinton. Blaine Smith is the executive director of Macon County CASA. Welcome back, Blaine. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, happy summer. Thanks for making time for us. And summertime means Playhouse fundraiser for Macon County CASA. Tell us about the Playhouse fundraiser.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to start with our Playhouse fundraiser. One right now is in Clinton and Mr. Lincoln Square. It's the Research Submarine. And the other one is in Central Park in Decatur. It's a castle. It's a Sorcerer's Spire.
Okay.
It is one of our biggest fundraisers of the year. We use the money that we get from this fundraiser to be able to advocate for children in Macon County who have come into foster care and are needing some extra help with that.
Sure. I have to say, whoever designed and built the one in Clinton, it's magnificent. It's huge. It's really something.
Yeah. So BLDD designs in Decatur. They designed all of it, and Greg Butler, he actually is the one who designed that one with his two sons.
Okay.
And so they did all of that.
Yeah. And I hope this doesn't detract from the quality, but it looks like something you would see at like a Christmas lights display. Like it kind of looks like on that, like, because I feel like those are so well done, you know, and I feel like that's what that kind of has that look to it. I hope that doesn't detract from its quality.
No. It is super cool. Like, and going inside of it, there's different places to go up and climb into and look out like the Tower Park. It is just super neat. You know, I had somebody we were at the Macon County Fair this past weekend, and somebody was like, yeah, I want to be a marine biologist. I want to do that.
Yeah.
And so they were super stoked about that submarine.
Yeah. Now, someone's going to take that home, and it could quite possibly be in their backyard by Friday.
Yes. It's June 16th at 2 o'clock. We are drawing for the submarine, and we will be in Clinton to do that. And then at 4 o'clock, we'll be in Central Park in Decatur to draw for the Sorcerer's Spire.
All right. Now, do you have to be present to win?
You do not.
Okay. How do you purchase tickets, Blaine?
Yeah, so you can call the office, 217-428-8424. You can also get online, www.maconcountykasa.org/playhouse, and buy tickets that way. Or you can stop at one of the retailers. We have some at Jarger Pediatric Dentistry, Brain Cutters, lots of different places.
Sure. Can I find a list online?
Yes.
Okay.
So most of the people who sponsor will have tickets.
Okay, gotcha.
But I would say probably the easiest way would be online.
Okay, very good. How much are tickets?
Tickets are $5 a piece, or you can do going up. It gets cheaper. You get 5 for $20.
Okay. Yeah, very good. So easy way to support Macon County CASA and possibly bring home a nice playhouse.
Yes.
Can you buy tickets for both?
Yes, and you get to pick which one you want to put it in. So, like,
Gotcha.
if you just want the submarine or you just want the Sorcerer's Spire, you can put all of your tickets in their separate bucket.
Yeah. Now, I haven't seen the Sorcerer's Spire. Tell me about that one. What's it like?
Yeah, so it's like a little castle. It has a fireplace inside and a little tower. My kids were playing in it this weekend.
Oh, fun. And that's the great thing about it is that, like, your kids can check it out before it's raffled off. So it's like you kind of know, what your kids like and if it's something they're into, that sort of thing.
Yeah, my daughter absolutely loves the Sorcerer's Spire. It's like a little castle. She adores it. But my son, he's all about that submarine.
Yeah, he is very good. mentioned this goes back into, supporting kids and that sort of thing. Let's kind of go to the mission in Macon County CASA. What do you do? What's this organization all about?
Our goal is to be able to advocate for the best interest of every child that comes into foster care. Every child that comes into care is living a traumatic experience. It is trauma to be taken away from your family. It's trauma to be taken into foster care. And to have one person be a consistent piece of your story is such a necessary thing for any child. I was a former foster parent, and seeing the different things that kids have to go through and the things that aren't automatically given. We do mental health advocacy. That's one thing that always stood out to me, that every child who comes into foster care should absolutely have the ability to have a counselor, to be able to speak to somebody. And that doesn't always happen. And so having a CASA know that this child needs that and be able to advocate for that when their caseworker might be new or switched every couple of months, which happens often. And to have that person be able to know that child and know what's best, and speak with the child about what they're feeling, and advocate for them to the court system, to the caseworker, and be a part of their team throughout is such a necessary thing.
But I've always, equated it to, and just in my mind this way, is that, there's so much inconsistency going on in their life from, some of the factors you talked about. Your caseworker might be different every few months. You may not have a counselor. You may be, interacting with different lawyers or judges or whatever the case may be. And, that CASA worker is the one person they know is going to be there every single time they either need something or it's on the book. I'm going to see my CASA worker, and I know they're going to be there. That sort of thing. So,
and it is. It's, that consistency you mentioned. These children are living an inconsistent life. They have been pulled from what they've known their entire life, whether we agree with it being right or wrong. That's all they've known. So they're already living that inconsistency, and to have somebody be that consistent piece throughout, it's safety. It's a piece of feeling safe,
100%.
And having that ability to connect with somebody who's going to advocate for your best interest.
Sure. Now, because CASA, your CASA workers are volunteers. So where does money for the Playhouse fundraiser and other fundraisers, where does that money end up going within the agency?
So the money that we get for the fundraising, all fundraising, it goes to advocacy. Everything that we raise, our mission is to advocate. So everything goes to the ability to pay the staff to be able to work with the volunteers, to make sure that we are covering every basis that includes anything from training volunteers to working different events to be able to get that for the kids. Everything goes back to advocacy.
Yeah,
everything.
For sure. Is there a lot of cost involved in advocacy? Like you talked about training. Are there other costs or anything associated with that?
Sure. So I kind of explain it like this. People always want to see their fundraisers, see the money go to things like concrete, like playgrounds,
tangible.
Yes. That is not our mission. Our mission is to be there for that child, and to be able to do that, I have to be able to pay qualified staff, train the staff, be able to train the trainers, train the volunteers, and then volunteers get trained an extra 12 hours every year after they do their initial 30-hour training. So there's a lot put into each child, and how it's I went through this just recently. It's over $1,000 for each child in advocacy.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
And it was closer to 2 this year, looking at all of that. And it's amazing how people really step up and understand that. I'm not giving these kids a playground because that's not what they need.
Yeah, sure.
They need us, and that's what I have.
They need a presence. Yeah, for sure. I understand what you're saying. Again, Blaine Smith is the executive director of Macon County CASA, our guest. Now, Blaine, what does that relationship with the CASA look like? Is it always fun and games? Is there some seriousness to it? What are they doing? What are CASAs doing with these kids?
So I always like to say this about advocacy work for children. Our goal is to be an objective viewpoint of the child's case but also build a relationship with that child. When I am an objective viewpoint, I have an oversight of everything that is happening in that child's case. I report on that to the judge. The judge reads that and is able to base their decisions upon that court report as well as the other reports that are coming in from caseworkers and things like that. People always ask, are you a caseworker? No, we're not a caseworker. Caseworkers have a strict plan that they have to follow, and they have a lot more kids. Also, when we are working with CASA, you have one child, possibly 2 or 3, depending on your case.
Okay.
Every caseworker has a lot more than that.
Right, exactly. Exactly right, yeah. And that's, again, that's where that consistency piece comes in, for sure. Now, we'll talk about training and such on the other side of the break, but I mean, there is that training available, so the CASA worker is not doing this, blind and then, just going into it, kind of feet first type of a thing. There is training, all of that stuff, but at the same time, there's also support. Maybe speak to those couple of things.
Yeah. Okay, so this is one thing that I feel like since I have been the executive director, I have made it a focal point. We are based on volunteers. If we do not have the volunteers to do this work, we're not doing the best that we can do.
Sure.
I want to be able to support these volunteers, and that means building the relationships with them the same way I'm asking them to build relationships with the children we're serving. I expect my staff, and they know this, to be a support to these volunteers. If they need something, you're more than able to reach out. I want them to be able to go to a visit with you if you feel that you need that. I want them to be able to answer questions about a report if you need that. And that is my goal, is to be able to further build those relationships for the volunteers and make sure we're reaching every child that we can possibly reach.
You sound like you've been in this world for a while and know what it takes, yeah. Yeah, sure. Are CASAs well established in our communities where, the people that they're going to interact with from, judges, lawyers, the caseworkers, do all these people, are they well established in terms of folks know what this program is, what it's all about?
I always feel that we could do better in letting people know what CASA is. Sometimes I hear people say, oh, are you guys foster parents? Or are you big brothers, big sister?
Right, yeah.
Or something like that. No, we are not, and that is not our mission. Again, our mission is to advocate for the best interests of that child. Yes, that includes being able to build a relationship with the child, but we also have to have that objective viewpoint to be able to get them what they need. And I want their needs met.
Definitely. Well, Blaine, I look at the clock. We could use a timeout here. Where do folks go to? Actually, let's re-highlight the Playhouse fundraiser. I'm sorry. Let me backtrack a little bit. Playhouse fundraiser wraps up on Friday. Again, tell us all the details we need to know about that.
Sure. Purchase your tickets at maconcountykasa.org/playhouse. $5 a ticket, 5 for $20. You can get them there. It wraps up again the 16th on Friday, 2 o'clock. We are drawing for the submarine, and then 4 o'clock we are drawing for the sorcerer's.
Now, if folks can't physically check them out in Clinton or Decatur, can they see pictures, whether on Facebook, online? How about that?
They're on Facebook, on our Macon County CASA Facebook page, and they're online at maconcountykasa.org.
All right, easy enough, all those places. Again, that is Blaine Smith, Executive Director of Macon County CASA, our guest in studio. More to come with her here on the WHOW Morning Show.
LFB.org.
Good morning here on the RFD Radio Network. I'm Rita Frazier with your hourly commodity market update. We are mostly stronger in the grains and mixed in the livestock. Still stronger in the corn as we roll this morning. July corn up 12 at 6.16 and a quarter. September up 13 at 5.37 and a half. December new crop corn up 13 and a half at 5.44. July beans in the nearby down 5 and a quarter, 13.81 and a quarter. August down a quarter, 12.95 and 3/4. September up 4 and a quarter, and November up 3 3/4 at 12.08. July wheat up 3/4, 6.31. December up 1 and a quarter at 6.59 and a quarter. And our livestock rolling now this morning. August live cattle up a nickel, 172.35. Feeder cattle August down 85 230.
Hi, I'm Dave Jackson, owner of your Clinton Save-A-Lot store in downtown Clinton. Here to talk to you about our great produce department. We
take great pride in being recognized by more and more customers as the place to go for the absolute freshest produce in Central Illinois. Our 7 produce professionals are very picky and won't put it out for sale if they wouldn't buy it themselves. Huge savings and the freshest produce are waiting for you at your Clinton Save-A-Lot. Hope to see you soon. I'm Lancaster, the voice of the White Sox radio network. Follow the Sox across Central Illinois on the Big 1520 WHOW. Sponsored by Kirby Medical Center, Purchase and Klein Insurance, JW Painting, Dukes and Heating and AC, and First Mid, all in Monticello and Circle of Fayette DeWitt counties, the leader in cleaning, restoration, and construction.
Once again, good morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Beacon Insurance agent in Clinton. And again, my guest in studio this morning is Blaine Smith, Executive Director of the Macon County CASA, in studio with us. And Blaine, we were talking about going back to our last segment, training and support for CASA workers. I know you've got coming up starting, I think, next week. You've got new training. I guess, time frame, if you will, and some changes. So let's speak to this a little bit.
Yeah. So the next one starts June 20th, and it is an accelerated class. So it's twice a week rather than once a week. But you will be done in a few weeks rather than 6.
Okay, sure.
And, you know, I have really looked at the training since I have been there. I want to be able to accommodate more people because it is a very intense training. It's a lot of hours. There's a lot to it. So we have been able to look at what we're doing, take a step back and maybe individualize it a little bit if that's what you need. If you've ever thought about advocating and you're, you know, scared of that training time or those hours, give us a call. We are more than willing to work with you and look at what would best fit you and then what you're willing to.
Yeah. So first of all, I have to ask, how is recruiting going? Because you got to get people interested in this training and those sorts of things. How's that process looking?
So I kind of just mentioned to you, you know, I got to get people to understand what CASA is. And, you know, we did mention before, like, people think we're foster parents or caseworkers or big brother and big sister, and we're not. The judge appoints a CASA when they feel that is necessary. We are serving over 400 children in Macon County and DeWitt. Between the 2 counties, it's 414 children, I believe.
Oh, wow.
And there are more children in care that don't have a CASA. So when the judge appoints, we need to make sure that every child's going to be able to get that CASA experience, and that is the training. That's what I need to get.
Yeah, for sure.
And getting the volunteer advocates to do that is, I think, understanding what it is. It's not something that you're going to have to do 30 hours a month. I always tell people 8 to 10 hours a month will make a good CASA, will make a good advocate. A couple of hours a week, you know, yes, you're building that relationship with the child, but every other aspect of that case and the overview is something that you can do with a 5-minute phone call to each of those different players or stakeholders in that case.
Yeah, so what is the, I guess, when you become a CASA, what does that look like? You know, who are you contacting? Why are you contacting them? What are some of the things you'll learn in this training that you'll get to implement when you're a CASA?
Yeah, so when you're in the training, you're going to learn what we do. You're going to learn what CASA is specifically. You're going to learn about foster care. You're going to learn a little bit about the laws, what it looks like as a parent. Why did a parent lose that child, and how is that parent working to get that child back? What does a foster parent have to do? You're just learning every aspect of that.
Sure.
But you also, when I talk about advocacy, when I mention those 5-minute phone calls, you know, talking to the counselor in the case, if that child has a counselor, talking to the caseworker, those can be a few minutes of phone calls a month just to make sure you're checking in, make sure you feel the best interest of the child is being met with those different people in the case. And then every time that there is a court hearing, it's usually every 6 months, you will write a court report. And that doesn't mean you're just going to write a couple pages. We have a template that you can work with so that you can help. It helps fill in what you need to let the judge know.
Yeah.
And then your advocate supervisor can look over that, help you make changes if necessary, but you will always be involved in that so that whatever is happening and what you know that you think the judge needs to know can be portrayed into that report.
Sure. Blaine, what do you get most often, whether when you're recruiting folks to be a CASA, whether it's about the training, whether it's about the the skills that they need or the things they need to know? What do you hear most from folks that, I don't know if I'd be good at this, or I don't know if this is for me?
Yeah, I tell people what you need. You don't need a social work degree. You don't need to have even a degree. You just have to have a heart for a child. That you have the passion to help somebody. Again, I'm going back to that inconsistency for a child's life. If you have the ability to give the consistency that child needs, please consider. You have to be supportive. You have to support that child no matter what is going on. Again, it doesn't look like 3 hours a month. Even just a couple of hours of meeting that child, or an hour, 30 minutes, it's, once a week, something like that, is more than that child is getting from everybody else.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and I venture a guess for the CASA worker, there's probably a lot that's given back to them just in that relationship with that child.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, we've had advocates who've been with us for 15 years. There's one that's been with us from the very beginning.
Oh, wow.
I mean, I am absolutely amazed at the people who really have, the people that I've met who have that passion. It does not matter. They've had easy cases, they've had hard cases, they've had cases they agree with or don't agree with, but they have that passion to be able to help a child. And if you have that, you will be a good advocate.
sure. You mentioned the training starts June the 20th, and like there has been some adjustments. So sounds like shorter times, probably a lot of information thrown out there. Speak to that a little bit more if you don't mind.
So this class, it's 6 classes, but it is in 3 weeks' time rather than 6.
Okay. Are we talking evenings? Are we talking daytime?
It's evening. Tuesdays and Thursdays during the evening, 5:15 to 8:15. So 3 hours twice a week. But again, if that doesn't work for you, we have really looked at even being able to Zoom. And we've been looking at doing individual classes. I am willing to do whatever is necessary to help you become an advocate, because that is probably the most intensive part of this, is that first initial hours that you put in training. It's a lot of information and it's necessary,
Right.
but I'm willing to help you and work with you to be able to get there.
Where do folks go to learn about whether it's this opportunity, something that would fit their schedule, their time frames? Where do folks go to learn about those things?
Sure. So you can go to the website again, MaconCountyCASA.org/volunteer. Or you can give Lori McDaniel a call at the office, 217-428-8424, or almost anybody at the office.
Okay.
You can call us at the office. Anybody will be able to answer any question that you have.
Sure. And real quickly, Blaine, I want to wrap us up here. I got about a minute. The Playhouse fundraiser just again wraps up on Friday. Tell us about the Playhouses and the fundraising opportunity there. How about that?
Sure. So the Playhouses, we're doing it Friday, $5 tickets. Everything goes to help advocate for the children in Macon and DeWitt County who have been placed in foster care and been appointed a CASA. So yeah, all of that goes to them. $5 tickets, June 16th.
Playhouse themes are?
The Sorcerer's Spire and the Research Submarine.
Sure, and you can check those out. One is in Clinton, the the submarine. I'm
The
sorry.
Research Submarine.
The Research Submarine, thank you, is in Clinton, and the Sorcerer's
Spire.
Spire is in Decatur. Where's that in Decatur again?
In Central Park,
Okay.
downtown.
Very good. So both in downtown Clinton and Decatur, respectively. And again, the website for tickets is
MaconCountyCASA.org/playhouse.
the drawing is on Friday. Are you on social media, Blaine? Can folks check you out there, whether it's for pictures of the Playhouses, just to follow along with what you're doing? How do they follow you?
Macon County CASA is on Facebook.
All right. Blaine, it was good to see you again. Thanks for making time for us. Again, Blaine Smith is the Executive Director of Macon County CASA, our guest in studio. The morning show streams to Facebook and YouTube. It's brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Beacon Insurance agent in Clinton. Network News is next.
WHOW.